this might be a hot take. If you believe that you just need to do a good job and everything will be alright, you're dictating na, hindi, maganda na yung output ko, yan lang. Kahit asshole ako. Freelance versus employment. Well, obviously, we are a podcast for freelancers. so you know,
Plot twist.
the short answer for me, at least, is of course freelancing or independent service provider, as it's legally called.
But why? Please elaborate.
Okay. Well,
kasi diba, you came from a corporate background. You've been in employment. And you're also now a freelancer.
yes.
Right? So for someone like me who's never been employed, an employee,
Yeah.
enlighten me.
Okay. I started as an employee of Philippine Daily Inquirer. That's my very first job right after college. Spent a few months there. Tapos, GMA. Kasi, of course, being a journalist, yun yung papasukan mo right after college. There weren't a lot of like freelance gigs for journalists back then.
So either newspaper
Or
TV or radio.
Or radio. Yeah, I was part of the news department. So I was a reporter for a short while, but mostly
Insert.
no.
May buhok pa siya nun.
Lots of hair. But then there are the longer tenure came as a producer, meaning I work behind the scenes of newscasts and TV shows. My last post was an executive producer for news program. There are lots of pros actually to being corporate employee. First of all, it teaches you how to deal with people. Yung, di ba, lagi yan na pagpasok mo, you're at the lowest possible position most
On the
of
ground.
the time. Diba? Tapos lupa ka.
Isa kang hampas lupa.
Ikaw yung inaapakan. Ganon.
Grabe naman.
But, syempre, ideally you rise through the ranks and all that. And as you go through that, your ability to deal with people, ability to relate with people that you may or may not like, improves. Kasi kailangan mo ng trabaho. Kailangan mo kumita ng pera. Di ba? And that's part of it. And if you are required to do it or be at the office or work with these people, it's up to you to make your life less miserable. Or better. Diba? Parang hindi mo naman maiiwasan yung ganong environment eh. So, kailangan mong mag-figure out ng way na to get along with these people.
And by that environment, you mean toxic? Tama ba?
Toxic or okay or good environment. Kasi I've been in both. Right? There are times na ang saya. Na I've been part of TV programs na ang saya lang namin. Parang every time papasok ka, light mood, nagbibiruan kayo and all that. And I've been also part of shows na puro pressure lang, puro deadline. 'Di ba? Mainit lahat ng ulo ng tao. So, iba-ibang tao, iba-ibang environment, 'di ba? Natututo kang makipag-relate. Natututo ka ng yung mga bagay na usual na sinasabi nila, leadership, patience, empathy. Matututunan mo yun kasi wala kang choice. Kasi you work with people eh. That's what working with people entails. Sa akin, personally, the bigger, benefit of that is learning to work with people, learning to lead a team. Because yun nga, latter part, nasa leadership
Higher
role ka.
position na.
Oo, na you're handling people. They're counting on you and they're waiting for you to give them direction, to give them instruction. And sobrang dami iba-ibang tao, iba-ibang characters yan eh.
But like when you were there in GMA, yung progression mo up until the time that you were an executive producer, was it as, was it like a clear path that when you were there, yun talaga yung alam mo na pupuntahan mo?
No. Because I entered GMA as a producer and then I became a news reporter somewhere in between. And then I came back to production.
By choice or
By both, I guess. Both choice and by circumstance. So it wasn't like I went in tapos gusto kong maging executive producer later. Hindi. It wasn't like that. It just happened. Parang when I came back to production, of course, you would want, na ma-promote ka, you would want na mas mataas sweldo mo. Diba? So that's, that step by step, ito yung susunod. Associate producer muna and then executive producer and then yan.
Kasi I've always been curious about that kasi as someone who's never been in corporate and who's never had like a clear path of, like going up the ranks. Kasi in freelancing, the ranks meaning sa atin, ano yan eh, it's
Wala.
the, actually wala. Or like maybe the scale of the project.
Yeah.
Right? The level of things that you can create. Mostly the scale, the clients that you can get. Pero yung as in clear path na, after associate producer, there's executive producer, and then you become like a leader, manager, whatever. Wala yun eh. So parang I've always been curious, is it really like clear cut na basta after mo promote, it's just, you just go up?
Yeah, in a way. Like if pagsiswertehin ka and if you
as
perform.
long as you do a good job.
Well, that's just one, doing a good job is just one aspect of corporate employment. There is a social aspect. There is corporate politics, office politics, all those things. And again, those are the things na you get to learn either by choice or by accident. Diba? Na you have to. Kasi doon din nawala yung idealism from me na you just need to do a good job.
Then you go up.
Then you go up. It usually is a negative thing, but actually it's not. I look at it in a way na this might be a hot take, but if you believe that you just need to do a good job and everything will be all right, in a way, you're also running away from improving the other aspects of yourself.
Meaning?
Kasi when you say a good job, mostly you're referring to the technical aspect of the job. You need to do this. There's an output. You do a great job at it. You provide a good output. That's it.
Okay.
That's simple. It's not easy, but it's simple. Right? But in the real world, you need to develop the social skills. You need to develop the relationship building. You need to develop all those other aspects of your character para mag-succeed. And this is not talking about na kailangan matuto kang sumipsip or anything like that. No. For me, parang if you just focus on doing a good job and that's it, you're neglecting a huge part of yourself. Kasi you're dictating na hindi, maganda na yung output ko, yan lang. Kahit asshole ako. Diba?
So you're talking more about the holistic development.
Yes. Na, kaya dun ko na-realize na losing your idealism in that context isn't so bad. Kasi it's bordering on laziness if you think that you only need to be good at what you do.
At one thing. Yeah.
And then neglect every aspect of your character.
Would you say that usually happens pag employee ka?
For me, it happened like the reverse. Like being an employee taught me na hindi lang dapat ka magaling dun sa technical aspect.
I see.
It taught me na
if you wanna really progress.
If you want to really progress, like you have to develop the side of you or the sides of you na valuable din sa ibang taong kawork mo pero might not be actually important dun sa technical job mo. Example, if you have two leaders, both of them are great at their job. Like 100% output pareho. Pero one is likable and the other is an asshole. Who would you pick?
Likable one, of course. Yeah.
Diba? Same output. the other person, either he took time to develop his personality or inborn siyang ganon, likeable siya, diba? The other one, ganon din. Either pinanganak siyang ganon siya, asshole siya. Either way, you control that. You can improve. Kaya for me, when people say na, hindi, dapat walang halong politika, dapat based lang tayo sa trabaho. No. It shouldn't be just that. It's part of it, yes. But it shouldn't be just that. Kasi for me, yun nga parang, neglect mo na lang every other aspect just because it's hard. Because developing your character, developing with the way you relate to people is hard. So for me, that's a big benefit of
being in corporate.
Of being an employee. It teaches you that. Even if personally, hindi ko naman din pinangarap talaga maging boss.
It's a natural outcome of character development. Kumbaga.
Yeah, and I just recognize na even though I don't like to go there or be up there, this is what it takes to be up there. Kasi you see it eh. You experience it.
Ano naman yung cons?
Cons yung gising ka maaga araw-araw.
The contrast of
Hindi, kasi that time wala pang work from home eh.
Yeah, pre-pandemic. Yeah, wala.
So every day you're at the office. I guess the biggest con looking at it now is malaki talaga yung lack of control. In so many aspects. Like you can't control the time you need to be there the office. You can't control how much you're gonna earn. That's dictated. You can't control what you're going to work on. That's dictated.
Who you're going to work with.
Who you're going to work with. That's outside your control. May HR department for that. So there are so many things na out of your control. And for someone with my personality, at least, na it's not that I crave control. It's that I prefer freedom.
Kumbaga, it's making you feel restricted.
Yes.
No?
Yes. So there were a lot of times na the ideas you have hindi nai-implement or kung ma-implement man in a much different way than you imagined. So, yon, that's for me that's the biggest con. And also, yeah, monetary wise, depends eh. Again, this is one of those things that depends on how you value yourself. If you think that you're getting paid justly or commensurate dun sa nabibigay mo output, then great for you. Pero a lot of employees, hindi ganun yung feeling. Diba? And that's part of it. Yun eh. But when you go, kaya nga yung iba nag-resign, lilipat na ibang work kasi they find
better compensation,
better environment, better leaders, better treatment, all those things. Control mo in such a way na you could always resign, pero hindi naman ganun kadali lumipat ang trabaho lagi. Diba? And it's not even easy to find a good, replacement for your current job.
You can end up somewhere worse.
No, jobless. That's, So that's a very big con for me. And aside, the little things na, yun nga, kung hindi mo feel pumasok, kailangan mo pa rin pumasok. Kung hindi mo feel kasama yung office mate mo, wala kang choice. Hindi mo feel yung boss mo, wala kang choice. Boss mo yun eh. You have to work with them. Her.
But doesn't that also happen din naman in freelance? Pag di mo feel yung client mo, pero client mo na siya.
Yeah, but you have a certain degree of control. If you hindi mo feel yung client early on, hindi mo kukunin yung client. You don't pursue the project. Right?
I always hear this yung pinaka-pro daw ng employment is the stability.
Okay, stability. I guess I've never thought of it that way. Siguro dahil when I was employed, I was still young. I had less responsibilities. So, I single naman ako, wala man ako family. I don't have a kid that I need to support. So, I was in a better position, I guess, when I was an employee. So, yung stability part wasn't as pronounced for me. Just because my nature is, I'm a risk taker. for, a lot of people na hindi ganun yung personality nila, of course, stability is important. Diba? Nagkataon lang sa akin. Kaya the reason why I'm a
Why we're
freelancer,
here.
why we're here, is because that's my personality.
It's because we're okay with being unstable.
Yeah, we are unstable.
We're very unstable.
So it depends on, that's one of the, the big factors when it comes to listing down the pros and cons of employment versus freelancing. Depends a lot on you. Like for example, you,
Me.
bakit hindi ka man lang
Nag-try.
na entice
I don't
mag-employ
think I've ever really considered employment. Like, seriously considered it. Kumbaga parang sa
Kasi
akin, it's
nakita mo
always...
naghihirap kami sa employment.
Hindi naman. Parang it's always been for me the last option. Not because I have anything against it. Again, I've never experienced it. So parang I don't have like a strong judgment. Even hearing, of course, majority of my friends are employees. And I actually have very little friends that do freelance. Just so happens that the path that I took, which I talked about on a previous episode, was first entrepreneurship. And then eventually, I was in a place where I had the privilege to forego applying for a job because I was living with my parents. I wasn't paying any bills. And I guess I would say I'm a risk taker then. Kasi even through the early days of my entrepreneurial journey, I wasn't really stable. Like I wasn't earning, a lot. But even so, I still did not see myself applying for a job simply because I've always been the type to, when I have an idea, I like to execute it ASAP, which could be both a pro and a con. Most of the time, it's a pro. Pero a lot of times then, it's happened to me na too much risk.
No. And
with little return or negative return.
And that's something you cannot, almost impossible to do in employment.
In employment, yeah.
Kasi once you have an idea, it needs to go through a lot of people.
And I'm learning that now because the more clients that I get to work with, diba? Even though I have my own offer or service and I get to do things my way to a certain degree, I have to, of course, satisfy my clients and follow what they want, right? So it's not like I have complete control even though I do freelance. And I'm learning na it's a balance, right? The more I work, especially now, recently I've been working with a lot more corporate clients. So I kind of have like an indirect experience with the corporate life and the employee life. And yeah, I probably still choose freelancing.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to comparing freelancing, and I will like categorize entrepreneurship and freelancing into one side, and then you have the employment in one side. The pros and the cons for employment can also be the exact same thing.
Actually, yeah.
For freelancing. Like for example, when you talk about stability, yeah, you can be stable. Let's say you're earning 50,000 being an employee, right? So that's 50,000. That's 500,000, 600,000 a year. So you're stable for a year. Freelancing, you get a 1 million project that you do for 1 month.
You're still stable for the year.
Still stable for 1 year. Who knows when you will get the next project, right?
Could be after 5 years.
Yeah. But at the same time, who knows if you get kicked out of that company after 1 year?
There really is no real stability.
In a way. But it depends na lang dun sa appetite mo for it eh. Like, the instability of freelance, which is a con in a way, allows you to be more flexible with your routine, which is a pro. The stability of employment doesn't allow for flexibility because which is a con. So kumbaga
It's how you frame it, no?
Yeah, it's how you frame it, and it depends on the values or the things that are important to for you and for your family or situation. Iba pa yan eh. Kasi pwedeng yung pro ngayon as a freelancer, pwedeng hindi na siya pro when you like finally have a family or move to another place or
Iba na
whatever.
yung needs mo.
Iba na yung needs, iba na yung
Yeah.
priorities. So, I guess this is my way of, concluding everything. It's my way of saying na for now, I prefer freelancing and entrepreneurship. Will I ever go back to employment? I don't see it. Definitely, I don't. Right now.
But it's not impossible.
It's not impossible. No, nothing's impossible. If I ever have a choice, which I do right now, I would never go back. The things that it allows me to do are the things that are important to me. Diba? So, like the flexibility of time, the flexibility of, going with how I feel,
Satisfying your creative desires.
satisfying my creative ideas. Yung sinasabi mo kanina na pag may naisip ka idea, implement ko na. Like this podcast, we thought of this like a week before we launched and then we launched it after a week.
Actually, yeah.
Right? That kind of flexibility can only be attained when you're not employed.
Yeah.
And that's important to me. For some people, the stability naman that employment allows them na at the end of each month or 15/30 si sweldo ka, sa kanila, yun naman yung important. And there's nothing wrong with it.
So really, it's just dependent on your preference.
Yeah. Each one is not easier or better than the other. There's no such thing as a better situation.
Or mas mahirap, mas madali.
Like objectively, there's no such thing as a better situation objectively, but there's such a thing as a better situation individually.
Relative to you.
Relative to you.